Just comes in with a triple. He just get a kill on his own teammate, but it doesn't really matter right now.
Jones just still going. He finds 3 as well. Might do the smoke and finds 2. That might just be a free use find. It's disgusting from Dragons. Lovely stuff from Sergio. Oh my god. Saki, TJ and Breaker, you'll go back to the respawn. Oh my god, Breaker finds 3. TJ just finds 3 massive kills for his team.
Hello guys and welcome to the EU Gears Pro League. My name is Tun. Solo shot because I am on my own through as I had a couple of PC issues, so you should be with us in a couple of minutes. But for now, I am very much riding solo to intro you to the final week of the EU Gears Pro League. Very, very excited for this one though. Plenty to play for, and we're down to the wire for that final #1 spot heading into the EU Major. Let's have a look at the current standings to give ourselves a better idea of where we do sit. Of course, Regal Reserve and OB Alliance sitting in 3rd and 4th respectively. They cannot move. But look at the top. 1 point between them. Rated R and Elevate, with Rated R currently in the lead. This is really going to go down the wire if Elevate can take it. I do believe they will take first place. Rated R need to win it also. Will have to go into the major with just that maybe disadvantage one of these two teams in terms of seeding, but they were very much wanting to be the main guys coming out of the spring quarter, of course. But it's one of these things where, you know, both these two teams, a lot on the line for them, will definitely both want to beat each other. And it's going to be a really interesting game. Really excited for this one when it does come up. But first and foremost, we do actually have Regal Reserve taking on OB Alliance. So we will be watching out for that game. But this is really what it's led to. We already seen Rated R and Elevate taking on each other in Gridiron. That was obviously last Wednesday. Make sure you do check out the rebroadcast of that. It is up on our YouTube if you do want to catch it. Absolutely fantastic. The mode worked so well. And with a couple of changes here or there, I do expect it to be absolutely fantastic. It was such great fun. But in that case, it was actually Elevate who took out Rated R 3-2. Now, I'm curious if Escalation is going to go a different direction. It's one of these things where obviously a different game mode, obviously something different for these two teams to sort of figure out. But as I said, that is going to be the second game. The first game we do have coming up is going to be OB Alliance against Regal Reserve. Now, you know, both these players, or both these teams, I should say, are in a position where they can't really do much else now. So maybe this is good practice for them going into the online major coming up this weekend. But yeah, we're just trying to get through back in. I can see that he's trying to join himself back up. But let's have a look at the stats from last week to figure out who really did pop off for their team. No surprises to see a lot of Elevate across the board and Rated R there too. The top two teams very much showing their prowess. Top Gear 8 coming in from Craze, the 3.92, 51 eliminations with 13 deaths. Crazy from him. Martian Zokos not too far away. Thus, Rated R definitely punching above their weight in some occasions here as well. Highest eliminations coming in from Dragons. No surprises there, although Slazen and Marsh not too far behind. They did have a really, really good game last week, has to be said. But Crimsons and Cup continue that trend of hitting the top with the lowest deaths in the objective score belonging to them, Crimsons and Craze respectively, in those two categories. I do believe we're trying to get through started here because you lot will be sick of hearing my voice. I can imagine you're probably sick of it anyway after how much we've been trying to cast this week. Of course, we did get Gridiron on the go on Wednesday, as said, which was absolutely phenomenal. And hopefully we do get to see more of that. But I know some of you guys will be in here trying to get a hold of your skins. Make sure you are answering all the questions that do come up at live.gearsaward.com to make sure you have the best opportunity to grab a hold of those. It's the final week in the Pro League, so make sure you are tuning in and answering those questions as best you can. Now, let's start talking potentially about the first game. OB Alliance against Regal Reserve. As I said, both these two teams don't necessarily have anything to play for, but going into the EU Major this weekend, some good practice is what's going to be needed. Now, I think when we look at these two teams, we know that OB Alliance have really struggled all season long, and I'm curious to see if they can start an upward trend towards the EU Major, where they are going to actually be able to get something done. However, realistically, we know that Regal Reserve have been a very, very strong team, but let's talk about OB Alliance first and foremost. As I said, this team has really, really struggled throughout the spring major, throughout the spring quarter. Not even just the spring quarter, over the whole thing. It's been very, very difficult for them to get anything going. I'm curious if they can try and find some sort of form around this time of the season. At this moment in time, though, things have not been looking great. They've been able to get a couple of rounds here and there and a couple of close games. But honestly, I don't know how much faith I have in them right now. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see a change if they do remain in the Pro League going into next season. And of course, they need to defend themselves come the weekend, because of course they didn't actually make the top 4 in the Gridiron tournament, albeit it is a new game mode, so something to figure out in that respect. But in terms of trying to sort out how things are going to go this weekend, they need to try and have a good weekend here, a good night here, of course, up against Regal Reserve if they can. It is going to probably, quote unquote, be their best chance of getting the win, because we've seen them in week number 1 go up against Regal, where things were fairly close. Obey were probably unfortunate not to have a 2-0 win. But let's talk about Regal Reserve now, a team who, after the first week, we were maybe a little bit concerned about, but after then, they started picking up a couple of good games in between Rated R and Elevate. But ever since then, things have not really worked out for them. I know Reaction was saying that there was a couple of rounds that have come down to very, very small margins where they've lost, and there has been a couple of round 9s where, if these go in a different direction, Regal Reserve's record sits very, very differently. But as things go, Regal Reserve are very much in that solidified 3rd place position. They don't want to give that up. I know that OB Alliance can't quite catch based on maps, but they will be wanting to completely solidify it if they can here at Regal Reserve. But I'm curious whether they can get something going here. Just going to join up. Hopefully we can get a through in. I do believe he'll be coming in very, very shortly. I can hear him talking, but I can't hear him. That's the thing. We'll try and get it sorted. But I know you want to hear his dulcet tones. I know everybody's keen on that, at least, anyway. But speaking of Regal, once again, it's been a case of, difficulties on their end. And I do believe we have Fru back, actually, by the way. So hopefully we will bring him in a second. But thank God. Are you back, mate?
I'm back. I'm so sorry about that.
You know what? I'm
It's
going to
just
make
been a
sure your
rough
pay is
day.
docked by... But it does sound out like we've still got a couple of problems there through. Hopefully we can get them figured out, because very quiet. So I presume you actually maybe on the wrong mic potentially. But we have been speaking about Regal Reserve and OB Alliance, and I'm curious that much louder now, much louder. You've definitely. I'm gonna have to turn you down again.
I'm sorry.
I turned you all the way up, and then you've turned yourself up. There we go. Fantastic. Welcome to the show, though, pal. Is everything all right?
I mean, apart from the computer exploding, 2 minutes before launch, we're grand. We're having a great day. Oh dear, how's things going over here? We all right?
All right, mate. I was just.
How far into it are we all?
Honestly, you can just turn off at this point. We're done. That's it. Yeah. Last week I get them use Toby, and he was on time.
Yeah, that's true. Well, maybe we should brought him in this week as well.
Maybe we should have. But we're talking about the first game. I've already covered OB Alliance and Regal Reserve. What's your thoughts on this game, Fru?
I think it's Regal's to lose, to be honest with you. I think we've got a good game, a potential upset. Obey, they've been looking okay. They didn't do fantastically in the gridiron sort of things. They've obviously not been doing fantastically all season. So it's just one of those things that I think if they turn up, they can steal it. But if not, it's definitely Regal's to lose.
Definitely. Let's have a look at the picks and bans going into this game to try and give us a better idea. Asylum and Training Grounds gone. Regal getting rid of Asylum. Not really too much of a surprise. We haven't seen Obey maybe put up a couple of good games there. Training Grounds then going from Obey. Exhibit picked by Obey. I mean, it's standard from Obey that we have seen them go with Exhibit a couple of times, and it's been close-ish games. Vasgot, realistically, has been good for Regal too. Icebound is what we will go to last. Anything to read into there for yourself there, through? For me, honestly, this looks like a good series of maps for Obey, to be honest with you. They don't have to play District, which I'm not too sure they'll be worried about either way, but they do get that decider on Icebound, which they've been very, very good at in the past. We've seen a lot of good action from Obey on Icebound. I don't dislike them on Exhibit or Vasgar either, so I don't actually mind this if you're an Obey an Obey fan. Yeah, not too bad for them, but I think that my problem lies with how they've been performing, full stop, anyway. Honestly,
I'd agree.
We haven't seen too much from them to convince me that they can do much here. Yes, okay, the maps aren't too bad for them, but realistically, I don't know. I just think that this should really be a Regal win. The way that they've been playing, they'll be wanting to get a win under their belt. I know that Obey as I was saying before you joined, this would be a good case for both these two to have a good amount of practice on maybe some different maps or something like that across those lines, just in terms of the major coming up this weekend. So they want to make sure they get the best practice in that they can, and maybe tonight is the time to do it. But let's go into our head-to-heads. Two players we do believe have to be influential in this game. We talked about it beforehand. It is going to be Ashens and Zokos.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, these two players, we picked them because they were the two best performing players for their teams last week. They both had pretty good games. Ashens was by far beyond the best player in terms of KDA for his team in both maps. Way over 2.0. So that's really good to see if you're an Obey fan, right? You got to support the players that are doing well with themselves. And then on the other side, Zorkos had a 6.6 KD in his first map last week, and this isn't a map they lost. So just take that into account. This is a map that they got slaughtered on essentially by Elevate. So I think that's a good sign. I think for me, I picked these two players because for me it's about promoting those players that are doing well right now. It's the last day of the season. We've got to look at the high performance, who can really put the team on the back when it matters. And for me, that's Ashens and it's Zorkos.
Yeah, we've seen Ashens had a couple of performances throughout the Pro League, has to be said, on a solo basis at least anyway. But the team just haven't been able to get anything going. And I think it's a query on how it happens. I often see in the chat, like, this team should be good. They're just obviously not doing things right. But yeah. Me and Toby had this conversation last week. It just feels as if they're not fighting for each other at times where they should be. Maybe we'll see it. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit too little too late in terms of the spring quarter. But Exhibit, Vanskar, and Icebound is what is going to be coming up. Of course, Icebound only if we need it. Excited to get in this one through, though. The warm-up for the game between Rated R and Elevate, if anything, it has to be said. We're very, very excited for that game. This one doesn't mean a grand lot, in all honesty, in terms of the actual season. But let's see how the teams are performing heading into the major.
That's it, isn't it? It's all about finding that form, and it's about finding the form at the right time. If they can come into this Obey and they can have a good couple of maps and maybe walk away with a series, that's the confidence boost that they will need before they go into the real money tournaments. In just under a week's time now. We can see on the screen right now, Exhibit. Both teams have played it. Both teams have lost it. Neither team have won it. And we can see here the round 1 percentage, both of them under 50%.
Well, let's see what they can do. It's going to be a very, very difficult game, I think, for Obey Alliance. But as you said, the maps aren't too bad for them. We're not playing Gridiron today, though, Fru. That's true. That's something we're going to have to adapt back to. That was a crazy, crazy quick game that we did have in that. Just absolutely loved every single element of Gridiron on Wednesday. We're back into escalation for the last week of the Pro League before the EU Major. It's actually going to be Regal Reserve with the initial start. J-Rage went down to his own teammate in the end after being buttered up on their side by Cougars, but very slow start by these two.
Yeah, a little bit of a slow start, but I mean, I think that's to be expected. It is Exhibit. Some teams play it slow, some teams play it fast, and in the end, it's up to the teams to make those plays. Right now, though, both teams, they're still hovering over the middle, right? They're just looking to fight for a little bit of control over this B hill. And at the moment, it is Regal that have got full control. They've got these kills on the way as well. You can see J-Rage is going to fall again. Now they've managed to corner Breaker as well. Good to pay there from Fractures. And this is a very, very good position here if you're Regal. Yeah, trying to push forward with 4 men down. It's only TJ remaining currently. Everyone coming off the respawn side of things, though. Right now, TJ is going to get taken down. Ashens maybe will just break this one, but he will go down as well. 3 seconds remaining. It's not going to make a difference here. Regal Reserve with a dominating open round. They'll be happy with that one. 1-0 now, and a good start for them on Exhibit here. Yeah, very good start. Exactly what you'd want. As they're looking basically to solidify that 3rd place spot. I don't think they can catch anyone above them. They can't, no. It'd have to be special, I think, for Obey to catch them now. Is it 2 points difference, is it? 1 and 3? So. Yeah, it would have to be a 2-0, and in terms of like round count, I think they would have to smoke them. Yeah. So it's good for Regal starting strong. They look very, very convincing in that opening round, and we look to see a couple of cards missing there on that right hand side. Oh yes, look, yeah, a couple of members of Obey not spawning in, but then of course we're having players just try to start this one up, so we will back it on down and hopefully get them back into the game. Saki, Ashens, and Breaker. So who's gone? J-Rage and TJ.
all gone. So hopefully we will be able to get back into this one in a second. Try and figure out what's going on. But the players will wait, and hopefully we'll get them back in. That's a good thing, I suppose. And maybe we can talk on this game maybe a little bit more now through that we do have you.
Yeah.
You know, as I said, it's maybe a good chance for these two to have a bit of a practice going into the EU Major. Excited for that one this weekend coming, of course. And these two should definitely be looking for a top 4 finish. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The Pro League teams definitely have to be the ones at the top.
Yeah, I mean, they have to be, right? They've got to secure that spot and really show that, you know, they're the teams that deserve those spots. And I think if you're Obey specifically, I mean, let's keep it relevant to this matchup for the second. If you're Obey specifically, they have a lot of challenges hot on their heels. You know, there's a lot of teams coming into this, you know, the major that have not necessarily had the opportunity to fight Obey in a qualification tournament yet. There's a few teams. Team Sick, as an example, Reader's team, looking very, very good. And there's a lot of other teams as well coming into it. A lot of challenger teams, the Spanish with Exuths and co. They'll be looking to try and get one of those top 4 spots. So, you know, don't count a lot of these amateur teams out. Is what I'm saying here, Chris. Is we've got a lot of good teams in this tournament, in the upcoming tournament, and Obey. Yeah, they're going to be careful, I think.
They do have to be careful. I think you look at teams like Team Sick. They're one of these teams who could potentially be the next one in. Reader and Co. did beat Obey and Gridiron, albeit obviously a very different game mode, but heading into the next season, they will be very much on their tails. I think you are right. So, what I think this might be is actually due to Virgin Media actually managed to go down for the whole country. Maybe about half an hour ago, and I'm curious whether it's went down again because a couple of people commenting that others have went and been kicked out of their games. So I'm curious if this is an internet issue across the board. We will try and figure this out, or figure out if it's going to get figured out.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick look on the old Twitter, and yeah, it just seemed to be that way as well. Down Detector is saying that there are issues across the board. Fantastic. BT too.
Brilliant.
Not just Virgin.
BT as well. So the whole... Oh, God. Not the internet. Not the internet.
The whole internet. it's off.
Well, we'll figure out what's going on, and hopefully these guys can get back into the game sharpish.
Guess we can have a quick look at those stats on
Go
the
on
screen.
then, mate.
We've got those run-throughs. I mean, this is the spring quarter stats, right? So this is their kind of averages across the entire of the 6 weeks of play now. And you know, looking at it now, it's kind of a good picture, isn't it? Because it's, you know, now into the 6th week of play. We've had 5 weeks full of gameplay. We've basically got all the information that we need to gather about these players, and this now gives us a very good idea of who's performing where, and especially looking at that Regal side, Zorkos having a pretty impressive spring quarter, I guess, with the KDA, with that 2.08 KDA. And for a team in 3rd place, that's not horrendous. That's above average, or at least it was above the average of the winter quarter, right? That was pretty much 2 bang on. So, you know, if you're Zorkos, you should be pretty happy about that. I think on the other side of things, Reaction, 1st quarter, I wouldn't be too worried about that one either. I think most players have a rough 1st quarter and then come into their 2nd, from what we've seen so far.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where Reaction, he was just there to put up decent numbers, wasn't he? I think, you know, Reader had been struggling for a couple of seasons, or a couple of quarters, I should say.
Yep.
But yeah, it's realistically, we expect to maybe see a little bit more as time goes on. But Regal Reserve have at least been challenging at times, haven't they? They've had difficult moments, if you like. You know, it's been a couple of cases of around here or there, and their position will be significantly better. I do believe we actually have players loading back in there now. I've got 4 in, but we need that magic on number.
TJ joined back in, so we're just missing on J Rage.
So J Rage, just waiting on him getting back into this one. Hopefully, we don't have too many issues tonight. We had actually issues the other week as well, didn't we? It was getting to the point where I think it was the gear servers actually last week, but this time round, I do believe it's ISPs in the UK.
Yep.
Shouldn't have this problem with Rated R. At least.
Yeah, they should be all right.
Yeah, no, they should be fine. They should be fine, but we will figure that out.
Likewise, Regal as well. That should be good.
Oh, come on. Get them back in. Get them back in. We are just waiting on players getting back into the game here, and we will immediately get amongst it once again.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick look at the comparison here between reaction and reader, and if we can bring reaction stats up again, just as a comparison, I can go through quickly the KDAs that reader had. He was running a 1.3 for the whole of the winter quarter, so you can kind of see from that, at least you see reaction there 1.44. That's a bit of an increase. The objective side of things, reaction is playing a better role there as well, and I think in terms of the whole team playing around him, I think it's been a beneficial swap. I don't know what you think about that, but at least the stats are saying this is a positive.
I feel like they have just looked a little bit more solid with chat reaction. I think it's been a case of they haven't been as lackadaisical, I want to say. There has been times where they went back to old Regal, where they have just enjoyed dying, if you like. But no, I think generally they've been a lot more, I want to say, disciplined. I don't know if I'm maybe talking out my arse there, but I think
I'd agree.
I think they've been a bit more disciplined, which has definitely helped their case. However, they find themselves in the same spot, so it's one of those things where we maybe need to see a little bit more from them to find that extra level, because there is a very big gap between the top two and the bottom two teams, I feel. Well, a very big gap. I don't know if that's fair, but there's definitely a gap. Look, it's going to come down to the competition at the weekend. Maybe that will be the thing that does tell where we are going to go with this one, but I do believe we're still waiting on one Obey player, which is unfortunate, so hopefully we can get them back in sharpish.
Yep. Yep. It's one of those things. I think for the teams, at least going into this weekend, I'm just having a quick look at the rosters that we've got coming up that we'll get the opportunity to spectate, and there is quite a few that at least on paper that I like the look of as potential upsets. I'm looking at, obviously, Team Sick. We've talked a little bit about those.
Yep.
They've brought in Red9 now, so he's a player that actually left, was in Europe for a while, went over to the States and has been playing out there for quite a while now, actually. A very good player in his own right, and he actually joined Team Sick for the qualification tournament, the last chance qualifier last week. I guess this weekend gone, and look pretty impressive, actually. I like what I was seeing there, and actually Reader in that team looked pretty good as well. I have to give him his due.
Yeah,
for for all the slack that all the smack that we've talked about him, I guess.
No,
he actually looked really good.
Yeah, I think he would agree though that he did have a bad time of things when he was on the Regal squad. I don't want to say he was holding them back by any means, but he was definitely underperforming.
Yes, yeah, and you know what? I didn't see any of that. There was a lot of a lot of times I saw him on stream and I thought, actually, you know what, you've looked pretty good there, and perhaps in a new team that's maybe what he needed. I will say as well, the team around him, Notorious, Legends, Skills, all look very, very good. And Red9 too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Team Sick. Their opponent in the final was Steady, and this is a team we've touched on a little bit. It's Flash, Mush, Precision, Stabizi, Demonic of former Obey Alliance. I guess Glory. Glory is maybe a little bit too much there, but that team, they look very, very good as well in that qualification tournament, and pretty much walked the way through it. Flash specifically looked very, very good. I know that it was covered by Rowdy and by Jack Reaction. They were on the commentary duties the weekend, and they were saying themselves, Flash had a very, very good tournament. He was picking up kills. It was 19 kills in 4 rounds in one of the final games. So looking very strong.
How was Jack's commentary?
You know what? I'd have him on here. He was very good to listen to.
Sorry, there's only 2 spots on here, so you're telling me.
I know. But it's I was actually, it was a very, very fun stream to watch, listen to, and to get his insight as well was fantastic, because there are not many players on the European side of things that have the experience, and I don't know how to word this nicely, but I guess the confidence to say it how it is as well.
You're telling me that Jack Reaction is a direct man.
He's a direct man, but he also, he kind of words himself well. Like he put away across his, just like I'm not doing right now. He put over his ideas in a very, very good way.
The opposite of what I'm doing right now. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But no, they were both very, very good to listen to, and Chid as well. Chid was on there as well, and that was an infusion of Scottish that I've never heard before. But it was fun. It was very fun.
An infusion of Scottish. Well, hopefully we can get this one sorted out. I do wonder whether it's worth us going to a break instead of us waffling here, but it looks like oh, actually, hold on. Everyone's in the game.
Hold on.
I don't believe it. But, oh, okay, no, sorry. We don't have everybody in the game. Unfortunate. Well, hopefully we do actually have everybody coming back in a second. Hopefully this issue is figured out for the rest of the night, because Virgin Media is having everybody's life. But we're going to actually go for a quick break while this hopefully does get sorted out. And we'll be back with OB Alliance against Regal after this.
They came for us. They invaded every part of our world. So we did the only thing we could. We set the world on fire. Now my war begins. Against the monster that created these monsters. Summon the beast! Crush them! And it's time to go hunting. That bridge is our way in. And they can't flank us. Don't go gentle. Bring it, shitheads. Close one! Enemy reinforcements.
Find your own ride, asshole.
Get out of squashing range. Come see what my newest creation thinks of your little plan. Just like we planned it.
Play it with Xbox Game Pass.
Live by my darkness, the last sign of hope, surrounded by shadows, which side are you?
Something's happening to me.
Which side are you?
This is my kind of.
Now the hunt begins for the monster that created these monsters. Just like we planned it.
And yeah, back in the room. We're sorted. I think we're just about there, guys. We're back into the game. They've reset it. It's 1-0 to Regal Reserve. Thank you all for being very, very patient.
Yep.
We've had to be patient as well, in fairness. Sat here, just talking about life and stuff, you know. Talking about Fru's bad day. But,
day from hell.
you know, everything's going to be all right for him. We got
That's
some
it,
gears.
it's only going to get better.
Well, yeah, it's only up from here. Oh god, yeah. Hopefully, Virgin can keep their shit together, and we'll be all right.
That's it.
But here we go.
That's it.
Let's get into it properly this time. Regal was able with the 1-0 lead, as they did have, which is only fair. They got that one without anybody dropping. Hopefully, at the end of the round, nobody gets kicked out. But let's get into it. It's going to be Cougars in a 1v2 straight away down Aquarium side. He's going to get dropped, and the rest of our Bay will back on down, but Zokas is there to help him get back up. Aggressive push mode Bay Alliance. See how they're going to be able to find anything for it. Cougars and Physics are combining well, though, and they will find 2 kills, so that opening that they need to try and get a hold of B is there. That's possibly the route in, but Ashens and TJ doing some really, really good work. That's going to even the odds slightly here through. A bit of a frantic start from both teams.
Yeah, it was. I mean, if you're Obey, you've got to be thanking God that TJ came through there and got a couple of kills, because they were down to a 5v2 situation just for a few seconds, and another good kill by Saki as well. It's not going to be enough, though. They need to chain a couple of kills together and get themselves a little bit of a foothold down in that B hill. You can see at the moment, Regal Reserve. Just like the last round, it was half an hour ago now, but just like the last round, we saw them have a very, very strong control over that mid section, that mid hill. Oh, yeah. And they just held that and rolled through it and managed to find a couple of kills, roll through to that home hill. And it looks like that's what they're trying to do again here. We can see TJ's going to go down. Breaker just get that kill on Fractures, but Cougar's there to clean up both of them. So TJ and Breaker back in that respawn queue. And we do see now a 4v3 situation just for a few seconds as Saki's going to fall once again.
Putting the pressure on over towards A. They have actually managed to decap there, and they're trying to keep them away from it. Domination is going to be denied, though, as OB Alliance are coming off spawn. Regal Reserve, though, in a good spot here. 52 seconds for the win condition as OB Alliance getting absolutely nothing right now. We'll be able to recapture that hill in a second. Oh my god, everybody just dropping to some great Lancer fire coming in from Regal. 40 seconds now before this one's going to tick on through the Regal Reserve squad. Plenty of downs coming in as well. It's so hard for OB Alliance to even get out the spawn like fish literally in a barrel right now. Ashen's going to get dropped. Some really good teamwork from Regal. TJ going to try and push it. Cougars waiting on the offer of a kill coming up. They're all just going to force one direction, trying to get a hold of B, but 20 seconds is all they've got to go. Jack Reaction and Kodo will just mow them down. Yeah. That's going to be the elimination taken in. Far too many downs eventually will result in kills. 2-0. Well deserved from Regal.
Very well deserved. You said fish in a barrel. You're not far wrong at all. All 5 members trapped in that corridor. It's so difficult to get yourself out of those situations because you're always trying to decide whether do I go to shoot someone, do I go to revive someone, do I just try and get myself out of there. In the end, they didn't really do much of any. Just got shot down, didn't they? Fantastic positioning by Regal to capture them in that hallway, and fantastic shooting to make the most of it now.
It's just one of those situations, isn't it?
Yep.
They decap and they just hold them in. They know they don't have time to maybe force a fight that could risk the round. But Regal Reserve 2-0 up. Everybody is in the lobby still. You'll love to see it.
Hey!
Thank God.
That's it, isn't it? That's it, isn't it?
I've seen everybody in the chat complaining. Don't worry, I was bored too. But unfortunately, if ISPs in the UK are going down, that is pretty much nobody's fault apart from theirs. But I think we're sorting out. Hopefully, Virgin can get it together and we will continue without any interruptions this time. Breaker and Kodo trying to get another decent enough start here. J-Rage just in the worst spot. He's done nothing for his team there either, has he really? It's just a case of needing to be covered, but not working out. Breaker and TJ combined them well, though. Cougars and Fractures will go down, but it has been answered in turn by Regal. Momentarily, it is a 2v3 in favor of Obey in the middle, but not able to capitalize. Do keep an eye on Saki on this map, though. He does like to go over the top, doesn't he? Over the top of the bridge and try to have that overextension going on. Very much a staple of his game on exhibit. TJ and Kodo trying to get aggressive towards B. They may be punished for it. Zokas does have to back on down after finding TJ, but nobody able to get a foothold down here yet, Fruit.
Yeah, nothing really, is it? It's pretty much neck and neck, 50 points apiece. Both of them ticking up pretty similar as well, and a good push there by Obey just to force Regal back, but Regal, they're baiting a little bit. They know Cougars is behind. J-Rage had the opportunity to get the give there, but in the end, it's going to fluff it. Cougars comes out with that headshot reaction, gets that kill on Saki as well. I think that's up top. There's Zorkos. He's going to get another one. And he's been a man on a mission the last couple of weeks. Played so well. Looks like he's going to continue it today. 8, 7, and 0. Obviously, maybe a little bit inflated given the reset round, but still not a bad performance either way.
Fracture settling up here. 75 seconds for the win condition. Turning this one around, maybe. If you're Obey Alliance, maybe looking for a push in over the top of the bridge. We can see that is the idea. Breaker and Kodo do need to do something. 50 seconds here through.
They just got to be a bit quicker about it. You think if Rated R or Elevate perhaps were in the same situation, they'd have made their move by now.
Yeah.
And in all that time, you know, they've tried to work out a play. They've maybe wasted 20, 30 seconds or so. Whether or not they've timed it right, we'll see in a second. We do see those kills coming out, though, for Regal. It looks to be blue across the board. Only TJ really alive here. Ashens as well, but both in a bad spot. Good kill by TJ there.
I like that from TJ. Throwing back to the full quarter there from him. Not able to quite find the 3 that he was quite famously known for. We've seen a couple of massive plays out of him in our very first EU Pro League quarter, and not able to quite get back there. But as all this has gone on, Obey have been able to decap B, but it was only momentary. They're not right now getting anything on the board. It's 10 seconds away. Fracture's pretty much just standing still and letting the fight play out. That will now be 3-0. Regal Reserve looking good.
They really are, aren't they? 3-0. And every round, you know, I mean, okay, maybe a little bit of shaky legs at the end of that one, but to be honest, they've looked pretty confident throughout it. And I've never really thought to myself, okay, Regal in a bad spot here. They've always looked pretty strong, so good work by them. You know, as that third place team, it's so difficult, isn't it? Because you look at the leaderboard and you think, okay, they've not got many points, they've lost against the top 2 over and over again, but realistically, when you watch them play, their games have always been close. They've, you know, looked pretty strong in, you know, some periods as well, and I think right now they're showing just the difference between that 3rd and 4th place spot. There obviously is quite a big one.
There is, but you know, for Regal, I suppose the gap for them is they want to be able to catch up to the top 2. That has to be the aim for them. Get a good opportunity next weekend, though. Very different format to obviously the Pro League, when we're going to be going into some serious online gameplay. Final hurrah for the spring quarter, with obviously the major online due to everything that is going on in the world. But you know, it's going to be nice to see EU teams competing against each other for a good chunk of money for one of the first times. Not very often we've had this much prize pool going on in Europe, so I mean, we just haven't, have we? I mean, it's a really good sum for these guys to be competing for. So looking forward to seeing the passion flowing through the veins of them this weekend. But right now it is going to be Obey Alliance momentarily with control of B. Looks like they may potentially lose this one here as Cougars tries to push around, at least just zoning these players away. As B is now being captured. Regal Reserve with the 2-cap. Looking to try and get back into this one. It is Obey with a slight lead.
Just trading flashbangs back and forth. Just fighting over control of this Hollows area here. TJ doing a good job not to get pushed too hard by Cougars out there, and they managed to find their way back in. But on the other side of things, we do see Blue lighting up that scoreboard once again. Fractures and Zorkos. Physics 2 combining for more kills, and now the push comes through from Obey, but the down's going to come in. TJ actually downs Ashens. Cougars going to down Ashens as well. In the end, it's TJ that picks up a kill on Fractures and Obey. They've done well to get themselves in a pretty decent situation here. Looking for another kill, though. They can't find it. Zorkos finds a headshot. His long-term partner, Physics, finds the other one. Once again, the Obey Alliance effort shut down. As Regal, they look to regain control of this on the leaderboard as well. You can see they're 140 now. They've taken the lead.
Saki really hasn't been able to get anything going up top right now, sitting on 1 kill within the past, 2 rounds in fairness. 5 deaths to his name as well. Has gotten a couple of breaks and caps here and there, but you need to see maybe a little bit more from him. Right now, though, Physics trying to put shots in. They're just trying to defend B as best they can. 30 seconds for the win condition. Looking pretty solid for it. Obey Alliance need to start making a move, but they just seem to be falling. Ashens and J-Rage dropping on down. Can they find more? Nice kill from Saki. Will find Physics and will get going here. This may be an opportunity for him to open things up for his team, although he has absolutely no help. Finds that opening kill, but the rest of the team being pinned into the spawn. Saki can't find the shots, will be dealt with as well. A couple more seconds, it's another Regal reserve round. They are walking away with this one fairly easily. 4-0 now. This one could be over very, very quickly.
Very quickly indeed. Just 30 seconds or so this next round, we could be seeing a very, very quick 5-0 effort. And as you said, let's have a look at that quick scoreboard. J Rage, not even a kill to his name. It's been 3 rounds now, 4 rounds now. And
we'll give him 3.
We'll say 3, but even still, I mean, you want to average out, you want at least 2 points of kills and assists per round, right? Per every death you get. And if he's got 9 deaths, you're way off the mark, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to defend him with the 4, but
yeah,
it's one less round. But
I know. It's difficult to talk stats as well, given that there is potentially, a couple of deaths coming out, killed by a team, killed by the other team as well, while they're fighting around trying to. Oh, very interesting start, Cougars.
Don't troll now. Come on now. We know that something like that happening, somebody will disconnect because you flash them in the spawn or something ridiculous. Yeah. Virgin are watching.
They just ragdoll out of bounds.
Cougars going to get a hold of the kill on the breaker there. J-Rage and Co. trying to make this aggressive push for B in the middle straight away. Not going to happen. It will be fended off. Regal reserve putting the shots in. Cougars is going to easily be able to capture this. Honestly, I have seen absolutely nothing from Obey in this game. I don't want to sound too harsh in them, but I really feel like they've given up. I do. I feel like collectively, as a squad, they've given up.
It's a shame as well, because this major, there's potentially a lot of money to be won for them.
Yeah.
They can upset just one team. Technically they might be able to make it to that top 2, and that's a good chunk of money. But
they should still be pretty much a shoe-in for top 4 if they can perform to a semi-decent level. But they're in danger. I think that. In danger as much as they ever have been of being knocked out of the Pro League this time around. They've got to be careful. If one team can, if one team can step up, they could beat Obey with the way they're playing right now.
I honestly do think it started with the Gridiron tournament where Team Sick knocked them into out. Sorry, not into.
Reverse swept them as well.
Yeah, 2-0 down and come back, win 3-2. That's got to be disheartening, and then you got to come back and now play Regal Reserve, your closest competitor, who've been looking very, very good this quarter. But just like that, we've talked and Regal, they've walked. They've got that 5-0 victory and looked very, very good while doing it.
As simple as you could possibly like. If you are Regal Reserve, 5-0 on Exhibit, and that was actually Obey Alliance's pick. So we will be heading into map number 2 on something that maybe Regal Reserve are a little bit more comfortable on. And surely they're going to be feeling good for the 2-0 win. I mean, where do you start with Obey? I really like all the guys on that team. They're all solid fellas, and I hate to see it happen to them. But I'm running out of. I don't want to say I make excuses for them each week, but I just sort of want to say, maybe
reasons,
things like going up against a rated R and Elevate, very, very difficult. But last time around when they played Regal, it was such a close game. It's night and day now. They are comfortably, and they may turn it around. Actually, I think J Rage didn't manage to make a kill in those 4 rounds. So, and he's a guy who we have said in the past has performed well. I do feel as if they've given up, unfortunately. Yeah. Which is a shame.
Yeah. I think they just looked outclassed there. I think Regal looked very, very strong. I think that's something we can take away from it is how good Regal were playing as a unit. As a 5, they look to be shooting for each other. Zorkos and Physics as a duo have been very, very good, going from strength to strength.
Yeah,
I honestly do think they look very good on Exhibit, and I think that's a map that historically I wouldn't have kind of attributed to Regal, right? That's more of an Elevate map, So fair play to them. They look good on a map that they didn't pick, and if that's a sign of things to come, the maps they did pick. It should be pretty quick as well.
Well, it can't go any better, can it? That's to be honest. If you are a Regal fan, you're very happy with how that one went. But we go over towards Vasgar, which is their pick. They'll be liking to secure this one nice and quickly, get the night over and done with, and get ready for the major at the weekend. This would be the end of their Pro League, a 3rd confirmed spot. I think that pretty much will do it
Yeah,
I think that should do it for third place for them now. So good on them for making sure they do solidify that one. But honestly, I think, they'll be happy to beat Obey, but they will be looking towards that EU major and knowing that they potentially have it in the bag to do something against Rated R and Elbe. We've seen close maps here and there. A couple more rounds on one side of things for Regal, and suddenly it's a very, very different standings. It has to be said. There's been a couple of very close games. A couple of weeks where they didn't impress whatsoever. I think back to the most recent game against Rated R, that was poor from them. That was the poorest I'd seen them play so far in the Pro League. So. That was a couple of weeks ago now. If they can bring the highest level, like the first time we've seen them play Rated R, where things were very, very close, they could do that again in the online major. So let's see how they do. They're a team I don't want to completely write off. We say there is a gap between teams at the top of Elevate and Rated R and everybody else. However, I don't think that gap is massive at times. No. If Regal Reserve can bring their highest level, they're close. They are close. I just need to see them do it more consistently. Right now, they're looking good against Obey, who, as I said, they look above and beyond, quite lower down than the others. But let's see what Regal can do this weekend. They should be able to close this one out against Obey.
Yeah, you'd believe so, right? I mean, Vascar, they've looked good on before, and as you said, I do think Regal, I think they honestly do have a chance to upset, and it's an off chance for sure, like an 80-20, but I do think on the day, as you said, consistency is key, and if they can bring it at the right time, which is going to be this weekend at the major, then yeah, I think they do have an opportunity, and I think with the right bracket, they could definitely work their way to that grand final. It just depends on if they get Rated R or if they get Elevate. Yeah. I think they'll struggle one way, not so much the other. But we'll see how the bracket falls. We'll see what their run is later down the line, right? It's all about Vascar coming up, and it's going to be tricky for Obey to win this one. I've got to be honest with you.
Yeah, very tricky indeed. We will be moving over towards Vascar. Getting into this one in just a second as well. This should honestly be 2-0. The way that Regal have been playing, you think they should be able to close this one at 5-0 on Exhibit. Honestly, wouldn't surprise me if we get a similar sort of scoreline on Vasgar. Obey, and none of the rounds were even close. None of them were even close. And it's sad to see. Hopefully, Obey can bring something maybe a little bit different here. They haven't managed to win this map so far in the Pro League. Only played it the once, and 2 out of 3 for Regal. Of course, with some fantastic matches on this one for Regal, actually, if I remember rightly. There's been some cracking Vascars in Europe so far in the spring quarter. Maybe this one can impress as well.
Hopefully so. I remember Physics going off with that sniper has been one of my highlights of the whole European Pro League, not just the quarter.
Insane.
So I think there's definitely potential here, Chris, for a very, very good game. And between Regal with those snipes and Obey with their lack of kills, we could see some very, very tasty some clips coming up, but we'll see.
Well, let's see. Now kicking off this one, and it is going to be Regal Reserve getting a hold of B. Now I'll be able to rotate over towards A as well, but it's very much going to be cat and mouse here. We can see Obey wolf packing to an extent. In the top right corner, we can see they are making a move over towards B in numbers. The Lancer Fire is there and waiting. Ash and Zakoda trying to use the flashes to their advantage, but they are going to get dropped. At least TJ is going to be down. There's only enough room on that cover for 2 people. Ashen's trying to bounce around. He is going to take plenty of damage before he can even get into the fray. Let's see though, as this fight continues. Nobody dropping quite yet, but plenty of damage being put in. Nobody able to get a hold of B. Regal Reserve hold that one. Good snap by Ashens, but he's not going to be able to find much else for it. Will get dropped. And then the first casualties start to come through. Kugas had died on the other things, but Fracture's waiting around the corner. Can he find a second onto Saki? It would pretty much seal B for Regal Reserve. He will get picked back up though, as Saki has to hightail it, but even after all of that, Obey don't really get a lot. They will manage to rotate around back towards A, but we see Regal coming off the spawn, they will be able to get a hold of C.
Yeah, I think if not for Saki, that could have been a very devastating loss of a fight there for Obey, but Saki did well, picked up a couple of kills, and now they did manage to get that C hill to their name. But realistically, it looks like we're going to see another drop. I believe we've lost players again. Realistically, if you're Obey, you got to do better. You got to get more points earlier on, and they took so long to fight that fight out that they have lost a huge amount of points here. 110 to 180 or so. It looks like this one's going to go Regal's way.
They have. Unfortunately, we do have to play the round out, and that is how it's going to end. 1-0 to Regal Reserve. Well, seems as if Virgin has has curtailed our fun for a little bit of time anyway. So the players will go back in the spawn. We'll figure out what's going on. Even the admin who's on Virgin as well has been kicked out. Same players, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Same players who've been kicked out. This is potentially going to be an issue all night, in all honesty. It wouldn't surprise me, but hopefully we can get it figured out. Hopefully Virgin can get it figured out, but we'll maybe give them a chance to get back in nice and early, and we'll see if we can continue. I'm excited for the major this weekend, though. Excited to see how it is going to go.
Yep. Yeah. I think so too. I think with the teams that we've got in there, I think we've got some very exciting gears coming up. And I think that the battle at the we talked a bit about the Pro League teams and how we think Obey, perhaps, they can still be pushing that top 4. They just got to get a, good run. But the bottom end, the other end is also going to be a bit of a fight, right? A bit of a scrap, because there's a lot of teams in there that have got a lot of good players that are just outside the kind of, the Pro League level that will want to prove that, they're still relevant. They're still, worthy of some primetime gears, get on stream and show us what their team's about. And I think there's a lot of teams that will show up. I think they will be a team that we'll look at and go, you know what, this team could potentially be in the Pro League. A couple of adjustments here or there, and that's what going to be one of the things that I'm kind of looking out for, is those kind of up and coming teams as well.
Yeah, I think it's their time to shine, isn't it? Really, it comes down to, you just have to play really well in one series against a top team, and suddenly you're flying through the bracket. So let's wait and see what happens on their side of things. We can actually see one player from Regal Reserve in the spawn of Orbe Alliance. That's not really where we want you to be if they are coming back into this one. But I'm just trying to figure out what's... if we're going to be able to get these players back in quick, sharp, it is difficult. Unfortunately, this is just out of everybody's control. But I do believe it's worth going to a break. We'll go to a break again, guys, and hopefully we can get this one figured out. I said it's just down to an internet issue across the continent right now, and it really can't be helped. So I do apologize, but we are going to go to a quick break. Hopefully we'll be back with the game soon. Oh, we're back amongst it. We're back amongst it once again. Hopefully everything can be holding up here. That would be great. Richard Branson. All right, mate. Let's just try and keep things rolling here. But either way, Regal Reserve 1-0. And we're back into it once again. Did have to close the round out there. It was already looking most likely like a round for Regal Reserve anyway. So I think that's probably fair enough in all honesty. But back into it, 1-0 to Regal Reserve. They do have a hold of A and C. Nice little setup from them here.
Yeah, very nice indeed, and a good fight by Regal as well in that opening segment. Gets them control of that C hill there, the Obey Alliance home hill. But Obey, they did have hold of that B hill, and they made a quick rotation around there. So still in this one, and still points-wise not too far behind either, just 10 points behind us. They now look to break on their A. This is the Regal Reserve home hill that they're going to break around. You can see on that minimap, reinforcements being sent over towards the B hill to fight against Regal on the neutral side of things. Will come in, ask him. Very, very good crossfire there from Obey. And they're looking a lot better this round, actually. They're looking pretty good.
Yeah, a
they
lot
get this
more.
Kill on Jack.
Yeah, a lot more aggressive, and that's what we feel as if they need to do. Be a lot more aggressive, and it works out for them that time round. Ashens is going to drop in the process, but they should be able to get them back up and back into the game.
Look at this.
Oh, J-Rage
Good
just
shot by
getting caught out.
Zorkos.
Yeah, really, really nice shot. They do have a hold of C. They're going to have to try and defend it, though, as Obey Lions have rotated from B. A is going to go into the hands of Regal Reserve slowly but surely. So Regal just need to fend them off here, but too many members of Obey moving on this hill. They should be able to lock it in. Shot's going to go in as well as Cougars tries to get away. Will get dropped as well and will get picked up. But just ring around the rosy right now, has to be said. Once one team moves to one side, then everybody else moves to the other. Fractures and Co trying to find kills where they can over towards A, but mostly, if not all, going in the favor of Obey Alliance. So good from them so far. The game very, very close. ANC now in Obey's favor. This is doable round for them.
They gotta look out at C though. You can see Jack's moving over there, but he has got a teammate in tow as well, trying to push forward and Obey. They did have two players over here defending, but the moment that Jack moved around the corner, they started to come back, and so they're a little bit delayed in the response here. A down by Breaker on his teammate Jay doesn't help things, but in the end, we do see a nice cleanup from Obey Alliance once again. They've lost A hill in the process. The C hill was decapped as well. Now they're making very, very quick time towards this B hill, but whilst they do that, they're going to lose the B hill. And you know, if you're me, at least, I would like to see Obey maybe splitting the numbers a little bit differently here. They've put a lot of effort into getting this B hill. Two members when there's no one there contesting it. They could have been using that extra person really to help defend the C hill, or even more so pushing over towards the A a little bit quicker.
Regal Reserve are going to have to defend here. 7 seconds. If you're Obey, you have to go. J-Rage has been dropped, and unfortunately, they just can't push. And for all that it looked like a guaranteed round for Regal Reserve, for Obey Alliance, Regal somewhat get it done. A 15-minute round through. That's disappointing.
Slightly longer.
That's mega disappointing for Obey.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
they had
Regal,
the kills and everything.
Regal just played the map better there. They made Obey move. And that's the difference, isn't it? If you're the first one making the play, if you're being the proactive team, especially on Vaskar, it's all about those rotations. If you're being the proactive team, you get to that ring quicker, you get the decap, you're forcing then the opposition to make their move after you. And in the meantime, whilst they're doing that, trying to claw points back, you're already making your move to the next hill. And it's just, as you said, it's a ring around the roses, but there is a formula to it, and Regal have it. Obey do not.
2-0 now. Let's see. Regal Reserve. They want to close this out within 10. It wouldn't surprise me, in all honesty. Flashes now. And the hands of Cougars as well as the Bull Tuck. So keep an eye on that. Let's see what he can get going with this pistol. Very, very strong in his hands, has to be said. He has been very, very good with it every single time we've seen him get a hold of it. Not wasting his shots, and very clinical with them. Very efficient. Just trying to put down as much damage as he can and losing as little ammo as possible. But right now, Obey Alliance technically with the very, very slight tick lead. But Jack is going to find 2 kills all on his own. And that's over towards C. Gets pushed and finds them both. And now Obey will rotate over towards A.
Fractures found the flank.
Yeah, Obey have to move. They're going to have to move. Ashens is going to find Fractures, but here comes the domination taking on through. Are they going to be there to answer the call at all? Saki is going to drop, and they have to force the engagements. Physics finds one, Cougars finds another. J-Rage has to hightail it. Breaker's the only one left up with him right now as well. Can't find anything. He's going to go down too. And just perfectly execute from Regal Reserve. They do lose it in the process though, so coming off the spawn is Obey, and they will stay in the round, but very, very nice moves from Regal.
Very, very nice. And, you know, I like to call it Jack on that play as well. He realized his team were winning that fight down at their neutral, so he backed out. He had a 1v1 that could have potentially taken the round, but he realized if he lost that 1v1, then his team lose basically all of the work that they put forward, they've lost, and they lose both home hills then. They're in a bad spot, so good play by him to realize that, back out, hold the C hill whilst his team rotated round. And now Regal in a very, very good spot here. I mean, Obey, they're finding the kills though. They are finding the kills, don't get me wrong. Zorko's going to die as well here as Ashen's going to clean that one up. And with a quick rotation round to B, they could force the 2v1 over by the A hill actually on number 9. That's physics over there just hiding out. If they force that 2v1 and win the fights over here, Fractures can get this kill. They might be able to close this one out pretty quick.
Let's see, can they get this one done and dusted? We'll be able to get a hold of C. Obey Alliance coming off their spawn, but really, really good Lancer play coming in from Fractures, lining them both up. Is going to continue to push as the push from Regal comes in on both sides of things as well. And honestly, on every single facet, they are out shooting Obey Alliance. I say that momentarily. Zorkos, we've got a couple of kills over towards A. As Obey trying to extend this round with a push over towards B. TJ knows he can't really push yet. 3-0 to Regal now. Just looks far too easy. It looks far too easy.
It really does, doesn't it? I mean, even though it was a longer round, they just never looked in a bad spot, did Regal. They were making the right decisions. They were making the right plays and finding themselves in, very positive situations. I think that's, that's the mark of a good team, isn't it? To know when you don't have to just keep going forward. It's very easy to, just press that left thumbstick forward or to hold that A button down, but sometimes you got to let go. Sometimes you got to backpedal a little bit. Hold the ground that you've already gained, and they've done that very, very well. Liking what I'm seeing. Drop shot going to go down, though. That's going to shake things up a little bit over at that tank area. Now teams will have to force a fight and work out what numbers they're going to send where. We'll have a look at that little overhead map as we get into that one. It looks like it's going to be a 4-1 pretty much on both sides of things, especially with that B hill still being down on this side.
Good flash coming in from Fractures, and that will push them away. Zorkos is going to be able to get a hold of the drop, but he did get dropped in the process of things as well. They should have been able to get picked up. Yes, they did. As the first one going across, did he actually pick up the headshot there with the drop shot? I'm not 100% sure. I sort of seen it go in, but I didn't see what else it did. It looks like he might have. Saki and Kodo have been able to answer back. Just looking, Zorkos still rocking the drop shot at least anyway, as Cougars finds a kill onto J-Rage. Ashen's dropping down as well. Regal Reserve looking good. For round number 4 here. Drop shot in their hands as well. I do believe Zorkos still has shots in this one. Breaker, we'll see you later. He gets dropped. Zorkos will continue the fight as well with the help of Fractures. This push over towards A is looking good if you are Regal Reserve. C has been captured by Obey, and they should be able to extend over towards B. So not out this round just yet, but Regal Reserve with the better up.
Yeah, they're definitely pushing numbers over there, but Regal once again finding that double cap, and that's that's the key piece of the puzzle in the opening of Vaskar in that initial is who gets that double cap, who walks away with control, because it just means that Obey now they have to fight for this B hill. If they don't, they lose so many points. And if they they go towards A, there's a very, very easy route through that neutral over towards the C hill for Regal. So it's all about this B hill fight now. You can see them trading, and now actually one member of Regal deciding to hightail it. Cougar's going to follow as well. They're going to go around to that C. They realize they lost that fight, but you can see what I mean about the speed of the rotations from Regal. They're already on the C hill. They've made their move through. They've gone through that quick middle route. And they beat Obey to this fight. The only reason Obey realistically can hold off on it is because they had people coming off spawn.
And they have to be careful as well here, Obey, because Saki and J-Rage both on 0 respawn, so they really can't get sticky, if you like. They can't push in too much, and now they're being chased down. Gonna have to find this fight. It's gonna have to go in their direction. Cougars finds one. Breaker is gonna get a hold of the drop shot, but Saki will go down as well. It's momentarily a 3 versus 5. Breaker's gonna die as well with the drop shot. That should be the round. And albeit a couple of seconds. Only 2 members currently up for Obey. Here comes the push from Cougars now over towards Ashen's. Flashes start to go in. Here comes the fight. They just need to find a couple of more kills, and that will surely be the round. Obey will do very, very well. It'll be classic that Obey have not won a round yet, but they'll win this one 3v5.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't look like that though. You can see now another member dying. Let's break her out. He's not got any lives left either, so just TJ and Ashen's remaining. TJ's going to fall in this one, and see, as soon as this A hill goes over, it should be pretty much it. There is a 1v1 over on the other side of things, and Ashen's looks to be chasing. yeah, he's chasing for that kill. He wants to get a kill to his name before he does it, but it will get taken down in the end, and it will be another Regal round. And they will go into the half 4-0 up.
This is looking like it's going only one direction. Regal Reserve now commanding here. And this is as convincing as we've seen them.
I do have to wonder if J Rage's internet problems are more than just disconnects at this point.
Yeah, he's 0-9 again.
It feels like that, that's the kind of thing that knocks your whole team off, when you can't really get involved as you'd like to, and your team are essentially 4v5 at that point. I think that's just it's probably a symptom of Virgin not being at its best right now, rather than a symptom of J Rage not playing too well.
Yeah, he's really struggling. He hasn't actually managed to pick up a kill on 2 maps here, so that's pretty rough, has to be said. But I don't think for a second that he mustn't be under normal conditions, because J Rage is a player who
It's a great incent.
usually can do damage. But there you go, there's a big incent coming in from Zorkos. He'll finish up the 3rd as well. Big plays out of him. They continue the push through. They are losing E. They're not going to be able to get a hold of this, are they? But F is looking like it's going to be in their hands, as is D. Breaker's going to get pushed, and this is just so simple for Regal Reserve, like a knife through hot butter right now. Just flying through Obey Alliance.
They are looking good. Saki with a moment here of glory perhaps for his team as he gets the kill on Jack. Gets that capture down, but it's prolonging it, isn't it, really? Regal have by far looked the better team throughout all of these rounds, all 9 of them so far.
By some distance, yeah. There was one close round for Obey, that's it.
Close it out here with a 10-0 sweep. That'd be a very nice way to end the Pro League if you are Regal.
Yep, this will solidify their 3rd place. They're not too far away from doing it. Physics does have hold of this drop shot. Be careful where it goes. Ashens is going to be the first one to go down. J-Rage is going to get dropped as well. Again, J-Rage just can't do anything right now.
Yeah, Physics with a 1v2 there as well. Very good. TJ's going to go down here. Regal Reserve, they're all about done, aren't they? They've got someone over to that E hill as well. The problem is that they've just lost a player. Now 1v1 to Saki. Saki finding that kill once again. Does get the decap on the D hill. We'll wait about and try and fight another 1v1, but Cougar's on this other side. Putting a lot of damage here down into 2 Obey members that are stuck on the side. Back and forth, Cougar's 1v2 situation now. Force the team kill out, gets the kill on Jay as well. And that's about it for Obey, isn't it?
J-Rage got his
kill.
kill.
About it. I think it's -1 if it's on your own team, isn't it? It should count that way.
Yeah, it's been a tough night for Obey Alliance. Regal Reserve about to dominate, you feel. Should be coming soon. Cougars going down. Breaker is going to be able to find that one. He's somebody who will not fall maybe as easily. He is going to drop though. Swarm win condition of 80 seconds. That's going to be cut in half. It may be cut down to absolutely nothing. F is the only thing remaining. Is there anybody there to do anything? TJ is there to try and stop it. We'll find a good kill, but will get dropped, just prolonging the inevitable. The domination eventually ticking on in. Maybe a little bit later than it should have, in all honesty. 5-0 to Regal Reserve. That is a convincing win. Easily done from them. Honestly, Obey Alliance haven't been at the races all season long. They will finish rock bottom in the spring quarter. Regal Reserve will solidify their place in 3rd. J-Rage not having the best of games there, but honestly, right through Obey Alliance, things aren't working right now. I don't want to point out any one bad game from one player. Didn't have a good game, but surely there's issues somewhere along that side of things. But Regal Reserve, 5-0 on Exhibit and Vazcott. Easily done.
It really was, wasn't it? I think,
yeah.
It was.
What else can you speak of it? I mean, it was just an easy game for Regal.
Yeah, they're looking good, and I think if you're Regal, if that's your last game before you go into the major, that's a nice confidence boost, isn't it? Going in and just just basically taking shot 10-0, easy as you want. That's what you'd want from a final game in the Pro League, just to come in and be flawless, and that's exactly what Regal were.
Yeah, very, very easy for them. And honestly, I need to see a lot more from Obey this weekend, and I need to see so much more. If honestly, realistically, I just don't see how they could do well at all. But an unfortunate loss for them again. But their pro league has been they've been able to get back in the qualifiers. They do fine, and nobody's been able to beat them. But honestly, when it comes down to it again, this is for me. I said I feel as if they've given up. I really do feel as if they've given up. But you know what? The next game should be a lot closer. We have Rated R and Elevate battling it out for the first place in the regular spring quarter season. Let's find out who's going to finish first after this quick